Welcome to the channel. My name is Crawford and this is Virginia's for Lowriders. We're in the garage. As you can see, it's really late on a Tuesday afternoon. The lenses finally came in for my GoPro. We left off with the power went out. I dropped my GoPro at some point and broke the lens, so we gave up for the day. After the power eventually came back on, like 4 hours later, I got a game plan together. As I was taking the control arms apart that we were working on wrapping, something happened to the one. And what that something was is whenever I removed it, it took all of the threads off of the cross shaft while removing the nut. So I hopped online, and for years and years of cross shafts being $25 a piece, they are now $55 for a Moog, or 52, or I don't know, somewhere around 50 bucks. So I started looking into other options. What can I do? Can I hit a junkyard, pull some cross shafts? It's kind of a pain in the butt without tools there. You end up buying control arms and you're spending, say, 25 bucks a control arm. So that spawned into, what can I get for my 50 bucks? And it turns out what you can get for your $50 is complete Moog fully assembled control arms for $10 more. These are 60 bucks. So what we're going to do is ditch the brand new ball joints for better ball joints. We're going to put some Napa Blues in there. If you're a lowrider guy, you understand what that means. Napa Blues are what the lowrider sites used to sell as indestructible. Even though they still break, they're a lot tougher than your run-of-the-mill AutoZone ball joint. Napa with the blue boot are supposed to be stronger. I've been running them forever. I've never personally broke one. I've never built a hopper for myself, blah, 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 blah. So what we're going to do, instead of cutting up the old rusty control arms and trying to buy $50 shafts, we got $60 control arms. We'll knock these ball joints out. We'll cut these brand new control arms, wrap the tops of them, cut the tops of them, and slap these on the car and call it a day, rather than spending hours and hours and more money to fix the old ones. It doesn't make any sense to me. They look good, I gotta say. This is the first time I've seen them, and they're just as thick as anything else. The finish on them's actually nice. Like, if you just needed a replacement, I don't see why not. I don't have any experience with them, so we're going to learn together. I don't see why they wouldn't be just as strong as the ones I took off of there, but I'm rambling. If you've never been here before, it's something that I do. I try to keep it to a minimum, but we have this project. We're at the 80s Chevy Caprice. We are body dropping it. We got literally like a month left before it has to be running and driving and on the road, so we can drive 7.5 hours away to a show in Maggie Valley, North Carolina called Mini Truck Nationals. With all that being said, we just need to get to work. So I appreciate y'all stopping by. Please subscribe. We are trucking right along. We just hit 4,000 like a month ago, and we're already up to 4,200. That's awesome, and I appreciate y'all watching. Let's cut some brand new stuff up. I'm gonna take a break real quick. I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Rodney. He printed me these things, which made me buy the same printer. But this was like 5 months ago, 6 months ago, maybe. I ended up buying the same printer to do the same things because I saw the potential. I've had 3D printers for like, let's just say like 4 years or 3 years. Well, I don't even know how long it's been. My buddy Rodney has a Bamboo, which made me buy a Bamboo like 6 months ago. Because my printer sucked, basically. He printed out a couple of these things for me to try out. I found the file online for like $5. So this is a factory Mazda speaker grill. Very smooth, very simple. These are made out of, after 37 years or whatever, the most brittle thing that you can make them out of. They're basically like Dodge dashboards. So I found a file to print them. I attempted to print the file myself, and it came out like crap with my old printer. I added a Virginia's for Lowriders logo to the front of it. I had Rodney attempt to print it for me, and it came out pretty good. So we revised it a little bit more, messed with it a little bit more. This one came out pretty darn good, which I'm not sure if this is going to be the final one, but I have this. It's got my logo on it. It's actually raised. It says Virginia's for Lowriders on the bottom. This is actually for the Mazda. It goes on the bottom of the dashboard. You would never see it, but it looks cool. That's all that matters. So then I have this one too with a very, very large logo, which I think this is probably the ticket. I just need to figure out exactly what color combination I want to come up with. Right now, this is actually printed in 2 layers. This is gray and white layer. It's not paint on top of it. I think this one is printed in just black with silver paint on it. But yeah, thanks Rodney. I'm sorry it took me like 6 months because I put these in a box in the garage and I completely lost the box and forgot to talk about this. So yeah, thanks man. Let's just get back into the video. I was just curious. I got this little gauge here. It's kind of hard to read on camera. Probably won't pick it up at all. The arms are what looks to be 1/8 inch. And the factory arms are also 1/8 inch, so I don't know. We'll see. See how long they last, I guess. So, same thing we're going to do last week. We're just going to get a little rough sketch here of where we need to cut these brand new control arms up. So, the only thing that's going to be a little weird is keeping the heat out of there. And I got an idea for that, but we're going to have to be a little careful when it comes to the corners. And we're going to attempt to do this with the cross shafts in place because I'm feeling lazy. If it doesn't work, and for whatever reason it melts them, I have the brand new ones I was going to put in those, which is probably technically a better bushing than the ones I purchased for for those. So we'll see what happens. I actually changed my mind. These come apart pretty easily. Well, it's the next day, and I got some Rock Auto stuff in. I got a seal kit that hopefully has the seal to fix the power steering. One of the belts came in. What else we got? Of course, the bagnet. an international, and something in a really little tiny box. So when I purchased the tires that are going on the Caprice, Walmart had some kind of a sale on them. They were like $30 or $40 instead of $50. So I bought 5, just in case. And basically I have grown-up money and I don't have any kind of self-control. So the other day I was thinking, I have always wanted to make a spare tire mount in the trunk of the Caprice, the way that I laid everything out. I originally wanted to put a rusty spoke in the middle. So now that now that the car has its first new set of wheels, I figured it made more sense to put a really nice wheel, well, as nice as China's can be, in the trunk. So I ordered a 5th wheel. So I'm going to try to put those on tomorrow at work or the next day if possible. So I'm going to throw all this stuff in the back of my car. I have to bring one of the wheels back to work. One of those wheels keeps going flat because I didn't notice when I set the bead that I set the bead on a leaf. You can actually hear it crunching, and that leaf keeps making it leak. So I need to break that bead and take the leaf out, put it back together. But I'll throw this stuff in the trunk of my car, or back seat of my car, and we'll get back on making some templates. I was talking to my buddy Sean. Maybe I didn't say it right in the last couple of videos. I originally planned on extending and building another set of control arms, but the math didn't math. I'm not going to do that now. It will be perfectly fine, I hope, by not extending it. Not extending it and not putting a shim in there, hopefully we'll just have a little bit of camber with the car laid out. That's the plan. Hopefully that works out. So these won't be extended, but they will be wrapped on the top. I decided, since I have these brand new control arms and they're in such good shape, I'm just going to leave the little edges here. And they'll, again, appear factory-ish. Still going to do this top portion with the little curled edge, but just wrapping of the top and leaving it alone, because if we extend them, it's going to turn into another couple hours worth of work, and I don't think it's necessary. So, yeah, let's just get to doing that. I'm going to probably make the top plate probably out of 3/16, because that's what I got in the garage. I think that'll be plenty thick enough for this, because again, it's not hopping, it's just going up and down. It's just to reinforce the stuff we cut out of it. Oh, I got some more parts. Inner tie rods, shocks for the daily, and another magnet for the never-ending I own junk wall. And I got one more inside from the rest of that order. It's a little foggy in here. I put them on the concrete to use the concrete to suck some of the heat out of them. Whatever you do, do not put water on them. It will make them brittle and change the temperature of the metal. Just let them cool down somewhere. If you have concrete or the ground or whatever, just let them do their thing, because they will turn into potato chips and be way too hard and end up cracking later on. So during trying to replace the seals and doing this the cheap way, I discovered that the steering shaft on my gearbox is bent. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera, but see how, like, watch this gap right here. Look how far away I am and how close. This thing is super bent. So that's trash. I wasted $20-something and I get to spend $200 tomorrow. Pretty cool. Ready to go. Well, after messing with the gearbox for 2-some hours yesterday, I got discouraged, put it back together because it obviously was ruined, and got up this morning and went to CarQuest and bought one. So fresh remand box. I don't remember if I talked about this. Somebody had recommended this. I might have spoke about it. I'm not positive. A subscriber recommended this steering shaft. It's for a Jeep. It fits pretty much every GM and a whole lot of other things made. It eliminates rag joints, and it's pretty affordable, like $40. But as you can see, it goes right on. You have a collapsible steering shaft with no rag joints for $40 that you don't have to rebuild or worry about some weird leather rubber thing being in charge of your life. So yeah, I need to put all that together, find some O-rings to put back in these lines. That way none of this stuff is open while I'm welding. And then we're gonna go from there. Well, it's another day. I don't know what day we're on, like 5-ish, but it doesn't really feel like I got anything done. But we're out here, we're chipping away at it. We need to get something done because we are running out of time. Steering box is mounted, lines are on. Hopefully we don't have any more problems that deals with that guy, because that is already getting too expensive. I have all the new crossbars, inner outer tie rods, all of the pitman arms, everything, to put all fresh stuff on it. I'm going to try and get that assembled today. One of the things that I've always wanted to do with this car, and I just never cared to take it back apart, whenever this car's laid out, the control arms are at pretty steep of an angle, somewhere around here. With the cylinders just in the pocket, they tend to just do whatever they want to do. So today, first thing we're going to start off with, I got some of these cylinder guide tubes, which is, it looks to just be a piece of DOM that they run a honing bit through just to clean it up to make it the right size, rather than me trying to make one. I bought these from Hoppos for like, I think they're like $10 or something. Really didn't need two. I think what I need to do is just cut this in half because I think that this is excessive for what my car's doing. I just need some guidance for the cylinder, basically. I'm not hopping or doing anything crazy. If I was, I might leave the whole thing there for extra strength, but I'm thinking somewhere about halfway. This is going to get, I need to make this hole bigger, slide this in here, put everything together, figure out where the cylinder is square-ish, and then weld this to the car. Once this is welded to the car, I'm going to create some gussets between this and this guy to make it stronger. And I'm going to do that on the other side. That's what we're going to start with. And then hopefully, once that's done, I'll finish up the control arms that we started the other day. Again. And then try to get the spindles mounted. That's the goal for the day. It's very time consuming stuff. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and in that, yesterday wasn't a total wash. Usually Saturdays are here lately have just been kind of chilling, even though I shouldn't have been. I should be out here, but again, this is all for fun. It's not a 9 to 5. It's cool. Yesterday, I did get a little bit accomplished. Went and got the steering box. I put the steering box back on, and this was a whole lot of back and forth. And I think that I'm going to cut the springs that I originally bought for the Ranger to fit in this car. What's been in there is a very cut down set of coils that I don't know where I got them from. They've been painted like 4 times, from what I can tell. And it looks like they've even been welded to something at some point. Again, this car was built with stuff I had laying around. This is just slightly too tall, but it has a better curl on the pigtails. It is flatter, so I'm hoping I can probably cut it down to about here and still have a flatter surface for the cup to sit on. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to cut these brand new coils, cross our fingers, and assemble everything. Hopefully. Wow. Spit a little bit. The only reason I went in that easy is because it's been out before. Normally, it takes more than that. You gotta use the air hammer. It's significantly easier than if these are used arms. I'm kind of thinking for the time being, we're gonna get some potentially rusty parts, and none of this is gonna get painted right now. Apparently I can't do this with the steering shaft in place. So I purchased those bolts. I bought a whole kit off Amazon. I gotta bring the kit back because it doesn't fit. Which really sucks because the other side
needs bolts.
They're no longer captive, like no longer pressed in. They're just bolts in a hole at that point.
So then you gotta have a socket and a wrench.
Which isn't a big deal. You have to take them out to put the control arm on because of the header. But I'm kind of screwed either way. So, as I had mentioned, I don't even know what, probably a month ago now it feels like. These are from Napa. I got a part number for that if you're a GM guy. These forever and a day have been on lowrider websites as indestructibles or unbreakables or whatever you want to consider them. Whatever gimmicky name people put on them. They're from Napa. That's all they are. Just Napa ball joints. They're supposed to be brass internal crimped something or another's. I feel like the quality of them has gone down. The bottom ones are the same thing, but they're not even blue anymore, which is kind of weird. You can tell the difference though. This between the Chinese ones. Let me grab another Chinese one. Oh, you can see here. This is like a pressed on cap. Like this is a piece of sheet metal that's pressed onto this. This is all machined. This is really, really tanky stuff. It's all one piece rather than multiple pieces of pot metal. And this is a Moog, which I'm not a big fan of. Everything else I bought was Moog. These are Moog control arms because it's the best of the worst options that we have nowadays.
Moog has went to crap the
Yeah.
last few years.
Yeah, Moog is turned into garbage. I used to be a Moog guy. I told everybody to buy Moog, but I haven't had good luck out of Moog. Hopefully, these control arms hold up. And if they don't, we'll take them back off and cut them and weld them and cut them and weld them until they no longer resemble Moog anymore. But yeah, Napa. Napa is where it's at. They're really, really expensive now. They used to be like 35 bucks. Now they're $52. We just looked it up. And I have 4 of them, which is terrible. But it's all part of lowriding, I guess. That's what they keep saying on the internet. It's all part of the game, which I don't know what kind of game we're playing, but the game is really beating up my banking account. Look at that fancy looking clip.
That's why it's $52.
What does that even go to?
The castle nut?
I've never seen that before.
No, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that thing. I don't even see that. That's wild. I guess it grabs the...
It's the Illuminati.
But it also comes with a cotter pin. They're giving you options. You can use the
No,
one...
you run that in one way, then you run the cotter pin back the other way.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing is they give you hardened bolts rather than the Chinese ones. Usually don't even make it past tightening them up before they have no threads left on them. Actually, I'm going to have to run those upside down, I think. I'm not sure. I think there was a reason I ran them upside down on the last set.
I think because those bolts are going to
It was
the frame rail.
Yeah, it was a clearance thing. Doesn't touch. I think it was the knuckle or something. There's a reason I ran them upside down last time. We're just gonna do it again, so I don't even have to think about it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
I mean, it's in sight now. It's not really out of sight anymore.
Yeah. One day.
Tomato, potato. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caramel.
Well, if it's caramel, I don't drive my Kia to work.
This is all part of low riding, bro.
Yeah.
This is all part of low riding. I don't want no part of it.
That's one thing I do not understand on the forums. Is all these dudes. They will the entire front suspension will fall off their car, and they'll be like, "Just low riding, bro. Just part of the game." I'm like, what kind of terrible game are we playing here that involves me spending thousands of dollars every time I drive my car?
If you broke, just say you broke, baby.
Like, I fully expect, because I've taken this thing 100% apart now, and it's like a fresh build again. I'm gonna have to work out some kinks, but I mean, I don't want to like pick up a wheel off the side of the road.
Oh, the Ranger, 100%.
Oh, the Ranger for sure. But this, like,
No.
last time I built it, I literally slapped it together and never touched it ever again. And it's been 5 years.
Never even got an oil filter.
I changed oil twice in the 5 years.
5 years.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
You got to give me that.
Yeah, that's a record for you.
It's pretty good.
Oh, do we have knuckleage happening?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll throw it on there.
You may move the camera back a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I just don't want it to be in your way.
And I got to assemble the steering.
Tie rods.
I got a new crossbar.
Drag length and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
And a new pitman arm and all kinds of stuff for it.
You spared no expense on this build.
It's only a little really heavy.
Strong knees. It resembles a suspension again.
It does. Looking pretty good. And I'm gonna bolt this crusty caliper.
Oh, you're reusing it?
Yeah, those are good.
Those just ugly looking.
Yeah, they're just terrible looking. The brake lines were, I replaced the brake lines because they were all rotted from the woods, but nice. So yeah, if we would have left, which I don't think I mentioned before, the whole reason of doing this, if we had left this in the control arm, obviously this is in the way, but this factory thing, this holds a bump stop, and this other thing is here if in case the bump stop collapses all the way. That touches the frame because there's a frame rail right underneath all of this. So that's the whole point in doing this, is to get rid of all those points that are going to be banging on the frame. Technically speaking, if I cut these ears off, I could gain like another 1/8 inch of lift, which is not worth the time and effort, especially with this. So just, again, it needs to appear stock-ish. Doesn't have to be stock, but yeah, we're gonna hopefully throw the other side together real quick and then move on to something else.
It's all part of low riding, bro.
It's all part of low riding. Well, it just finally took a break to eat lunch at 5 o'clock, which I usually try to have the videos up by 5 o'clock, but I got a little carried away and distracted today. But we have spindleage, control arms, control arm, spring, cylinder. It's all looking pretty good. So basically when I do these, without laying the car out first, you don't really know where you need to cut the control arm. That's why I left the control arms raw up to this point, because I knew that they were going to have to be trimmed again and again and again. I made them pretty thin around the edges in hopes that it was going to be enough, but you don't know, because again, they're at a pretty ridiculous angle, which is really, really stressful on ball joints. Maybe we'll pie cut them one day, but most likely not. As you can see, we have maybe the tiniest bit of camber now. And that was with no extension at all. It, just looking at it, it almost looks like it's just 100% straight. I don't think there's any camber there. So, that's good. Like I had said in the beginning of the last one, we're doing this to eliminate the positive camber that we had from the old extended arms. But it's gone. The only thing is now, we have crazy ball joint angle again. Kind of sucks. So this is, like I said, I made it pretty small. But as you can see, the cylinder needs to be where the control arm is. So one more time, I'm going to have to come in here and trim all this. I ran out of time today, but I feel like we made pretty good progress. The control arms are like 99% done. They just need to be cut and some rattle can spray paint thrown on them. The cylinder guide tubes are in place and welded up, looking good and strong. I'm not really sure if I got this angle on this one 100% where I need it to be, but it looks pretty good. I think that one moved while I was welding it. That one is spot on. This one, a little bit more of an angle towards the outside of the car than I want it to be, but this is going to be full lockup, so I think it'll be just fine. I didn't talk about it since the beginning. Got the other wheel mounted up, so I need to throw a valve core in that and use the cheetah to pump that tire up. Then we will have a spare, and I need to clean. I got that other one broke down and took the leaf out of it. I need to clean the lip of that, get that reseated, but we're moving right along. That is control arms done, cylinder guide tubes done, power steering problem hopefully figured out, coil springs figured out, and stuff mounted. That's a pretty good week worth of work when I can only basically squeeze in 45 minutes to 2 hours a night. Basically, whatever my energy level is at the end of the day, that's what we are doing. But I've been rambling on. I feel like I've been complaining on this video. I'm not trying to complain. Just, again, excuses, allergies, and whatnot. It's that season again. I feel like I'm being beat up all day long. But I'm going to stop rambling. We're going to come back tomorrow, which will be next Sunday for y'all. I appreciate y'all watching. Please subscribe. Do all the normal YouTube things and go back and check out all the other videos. There's a ton of them, and there's a ton more to come. As of right now, I got faith in myself. I also got 3 weeks, because I don't count the last week before mini-nats as a good week, because I can't work that weekend. So technically, I got 3 weeks to put this back together, and it is very much apart. So check back in, see if I made it, I guess. See if we're gonna lose the shop. I mean, if I don't get this together, there's a good chance the garage might just explode or something. I don't know, but I'll see y'all next Sunday.